Good morning and welcome to Good News with Angela Savage on Vegas, All Net Radio. Happy Monday. I just wanted to start this week out with some good positive vibes and some great stories to help you get through the week. I pick Mondays because Mondays can be a little bit of a downer for people. So I like to start our week off on a light, happy note and get started with some good vibes. I have a great show planned for you today. David Shaw is calling in. He's the Senior Director of Operations at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Met him in 2014 when I went to my first 500 race at the track. What a nice guy. Also today I have Kim Madrid. She is a female racer, Formula V, and some other calling guests that I'm looking forward to. I have Aaron in the studio today.
Howdy.
How you doing this morning?
Howdy. Am I on there? I don't hear myself.
There you are.
All right, here we are. Hi there.
Hi. How was your weekend?
My weekend was very relaxful. Went to the Summerlin Arts Festival a little bit yesterday. Watched some football. Watched my Nittany Lions on Saturday win. So it was just a very relaxing, kickback kind of weekend. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. I want to kind of let my viewers know how I ended up right here at this mic with you. You being a co-owner of VA&R. Can you go ahead and give a little story about how I ended up here?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. You know, my personal office here in the studio is positioned such that I get to see and hear the guests walking out of the studio. So as I'm listening to shows in my office that played during the week, when I listen to certain guests on certain shows, I have the advantage of tripping them on the way out if I want to talk to them. You know, they can't escape me.
I can't get past the
desk. They can't get past my door.
Can't get past the desk.
I was listening to From Grief to Relief over the summer, and lo and behold, I hear this guest on the show, some Angela chick, something about racing. You know, I mean, I was kind of listening and then starting to hear the story about losing her dad in that 1973 race. I was intrigued. And the passion and the sincerity and the warmth that I heard coming over my speaker, I said, I got to talk to this person when she's done with the show. And as is customary, I put out my tripwire across the hallway.
Bing, 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 bing.
Got you to come into my office, and we chatted about the prospects of doing a show and telling your story about you and your dad and what you've overcome.
Right.
I thought there was a lot of good potential there, and obviously I haven't been wrong yet because you've just been blowing them up in a show, and 10 minutes so far with your first show. It just blew off the charts.
Nice.
So, and, you know, push comes to shove. You were kind enough to invite me and my wife to come out to your home for us to really just get down to brass tacks about the show. And,
Right.
And I'll tell you what, you know, I vet potential show hosts for about an hour and a half in my first meeting, and I think we stood in my office that first day, maybe about 45 minutes, just kind of getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, the excitement on Facebook for your show and the support that you're getting from the racing community, the type of guests that you're getting, you know, on the show, such as today's guest, last week's guests, and in-studio guests today, just proves that, you know, maybe I have an eye for talent. I don't know.
I think he does.
Well, you know, there's definitely a lot of stories that are being told right now. That Grief to Relief program was so wonderful. It was a place for me to say, you know, that I struggled the first 40 years of my life in terrible ways. You know, just started off with a bad deck of cards, you know, and I've had to overcome a lot of things just to be able to function properly in the world and be a good mom and wife and those sort of things. So by getting on the show and by getting back in touch with the racing community after going to Indy in 2014, a lot of my dad's friends and fans, they want to tell me their memories of my dad. And let me tell you, I want to hear all the stories, you know. So what a great way to get to hear all the stories. And then I felt bad hearing them all by myself on the phone. I want other people to hear this stuff too, you know, and I'm getting a lot of love and support from the racing community right now that it's a miracle, you know. It's a lot of love that I always had through my life, and I never knew was there. And now that I'm kind of on the scene, you know, they're letting me have it. So I figure, why not have a show where we can document some of these great stories, and also use it as a way to kind of heal too from, you know, it was such a tragic crash, and that's what you see on YouTube. I mean, don't bother going to YouTube unless you want to have a really bad day. You know, they focus on the crash, and it's kind of been that way. So this is a way for me and to help other people maybe get past the sad part.
Sure.
And so that we can, you know, put him on the pedestal that he really deserves to be on, as such a wonderful, widespread driver. He would drive anything. You know, he's really good. Got picked up by Dan Gurney, who's got the eye of all eyes. You know, I really just want to talk about his accomplishments while he was alive, you know, and get past that crash. You know, we all need to get past that. I'm sure that it really affected a lot of people, because he had a lot of people that really loved him, you know, and I hear a lot from young men, or anyone really that was in the audience that day, how it really affected them, you know. And then there, at that time back in '73, there were no outlets to get any help.
Social media wasn't there.
There was no social media there. You know, you didn't talk about post-traumatic stress or things like that. That was all still taboo. It was kind of like, it was the '70s. It was like, hey kid, good luck, man. Yeah, bad rap. Sorry.
Have a toke, dude. You'll calm down.
Right. It'll be fine. But you know, now we know that there's other ways to deal with stress and like PTSD, depression, all those things, which I do want to incorporate into my show, because I've suffered from a lot of these things, you know, just trying to get through life. And I want to offer a place where we can talk about racing. We can talk about my dad. I do want to talk about mental illness and blow some of blow the top off of some of the stigma that's still out there for people that are depressed or have anxiety or have PTSD. You know, I want to give a spot where we can all just tell great stories in a positive manner, and no bad news, right? Aren't we all a little sick of the bad news?
Absolutely. If I keep reading about more shootings on college campuses, I'm going to just go nuts. But you know, I'll tell you what, I knew from the moment you put that test post out there on Facebook about doing the show, and I was tracking it.
Yeah.
Within 28 minutes, you had 300 likes and comments on that post in 28 minutes.
Nice.
That's when I knew that
I love you guys.
You were going to be a home run here at this station, because like you said, the community, the racing community is huge. It's worldwide. And the support for your dad now is coming around to support you. It's almost like therapy for you, as well as it is for everybody for everybody else. And it's great.
Right. And we were talking just before the show, Beth and Janine and I, about how my dad's fans are my connection to my dad, and then I'm their connection to my dad. So it makes this really beautiful triangle, you know, and then we're all kind of healing together. I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, you know, you've helped me overcome, you know, some sadness I was holding on ever since then, you know, and other people are learning how to work through your stress and your situations better too. So I'm hoping to be a living example of how you can get a really nasty start, you know, and still manage to turn things around. Because
if you have the willpower and the desire to get through things that you go through from a negative standpoint in your life, if you have the desire to want to change and the support around you to help you when you need it, there's no question anybody at any time can turn their life around going through whatever it is they're going through.
I totally believe that. I mean, I've been to the bottom of the bottoms, and I managed to pull myself back out of that pit. And if I can offer anybody any sort of hope or encouragement or inspiration, you know, just to get through today, we don't even have to worry about tomorrow. Thank goodness. We only have enough.
It's only 10 o'clock. we got enough time for today.
We get enough grace for today, you know. So I'm hoping that this will be a place where we can all heal from all kinds of things together, and talk about racing, which is never a bad thing.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, this weekend, Jeanette Bork was nice enough to have me out at the VARA show at the Spring Mountain Ranch Motorsport Park.
Yes, Spring Mountain Motorsport
Park. What a beautiful facility that is, right?
Oh, and it's an exciting track. I mean, Angela causes a lot of excitement just when she shows up. She's in the pits. I mean, it's as noisy as it can be. There's cars, going by at pit speeds, and there's Angela. Her voice carries right over all those loud engines, from muscle cars to Porsches to Formulas. There's Angela's laugh.
I have said before that I have a voice that carries for 2 weeks.
That's true.
Don't really need a mic. But, this will work for now.
Oh.
Yeah, it was awesome. We got to see Jason Reichert race, your son, which we'll talk a little bit more about that, and Kim Madrid running Formula V, and I got to meet Leah Pritchard, who, she's a drag racer, and she wanted to give road course a try. This weekend was her first try on the road course.
Yeah, her sponsor Gum Out has sent her all over to all kinds of different events, and it was a great thing to see her at the Motorsport Park where she was racing a road course because, as you know, dragsters go 300 miles an hour for 3 seconds.
Yeah, straight line, stand on it.
But now she had to learn how to shift and to
It's
turn
nothing
right,
new
turn
down
left.
Sahara, for crying out loud.
Or the street by your house.
Oh, yeah. It's so versatile. It's just amazing that she can change from one sport to the next.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk to her after the race, which I would have liked to hear her comparison between drag and all these turns, and shifting and everything. So I'll be talking to her this week, and I hope to get her on my show next week because, she's one of the girls that has made it into the boys club, so to speak. And it's not the easiest thing to do in motorsports. We know that just as recently as, 40 years ago, women weren't even allowed in the pits or in the garage area at all. In fact, I know my mother and her best friend, Pat Wright, who was my dad's chief mechanic, Jim Wright's wife. So they became best friends, and they're still best friends. They were the first women allowed to go down into the garages at the Indy 500. And even then, it wasn't just a badge. They had to have a full-on 3-page official letter stating why they were even allowed to be down there, because they were women. So I know my mom's pretty proud of being one of the first women down there at Indy in the garages. So I feel really lucky to be hanging out with this generally male-dominated sport, but definitely the women are coming up. So this weekend with Kim and Janine and I, we were feeling pretty cool. And Dana, Kim's daughter, the photographer, we really felt like we were the girls on the scene in the boys club. Huh?
We had a good time. It was girl power because even get in the racing sport like Kim Madrid has done, you have to be an exceptional woman. You can't just be an average woman, and she proves it every time she goes out.
She's not average at all. Boy,
no,
she's got a lot of horsepower.
Head and shoulders above.
Yeah, what a great gal.
She had 2 wins this weekend. She was on the pole and a win, both Saturday and Sunday. Just an amazing ride.
Right. Well, we're going to have to go to a break pretty quick here. So remember, you're turning into Good News with Angela Savage on Vegas All Net Radio. And we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Good News with Angela Savage on Vegas All Net Radio. We were talking about Spring Mountain Motorsports Ranch this weekend. We had some really fun racing going on out there. Jason did good. Kim did good. Leah did good. I believe I have a call. Do I have a David Shaw on the phone?
I think we have another caller for you.
Oh, okay.
We had a good time at the Motorsport Park. Spring Mountain is just outside Pahrump, so it's only like a 45 to 1 hour drive from Las Vegas. Well worth going out to.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's a long road course, too, which Las Vegas fans may not be used to. They're used to the oval with the big banked curves, and this 3.5-mile course can be configured in more than a dozen ways. There's hairpin turns, there's dogleg turns, there's curved long stretches, and then there's a nice straightaway right at the start-finish.
Angela, I think we have Dave on the line for you.
Awesome. Dave, are you on the line?
Yes, how are you guys?
I'm doing just great. How are you this morning?
Doing well.
I understand you did a little traveling this weekend to Arizona. How's the weather out there?
It's hot, man. It's hot.
Was
really
it hot
out there?
What about Indianapolis? Is it pretty humid right now? What's it like?
No, it's beautiful right now. It's we've had a pretty mild temperature-wise October. It's supposed to be like 80 today, so.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, we're fine.
We're still
fine.
waiting for the weather to cool down here in
One
the
more
desert.
week. One more week.
Yeah, one more week. We're still in the hundreds, so we're
That's what they were saying in Phoenix, and out there it got down to. I mean, when we landed, I think Thursday night it was like 65, and there were people walking around in coats and winter jackets.
Yeah.
And funny.
Well, we pretty much go from the oven straight to the freezer, so we're waiting for that freezer time by now.
Sure.
I have some questions for you, David. Tell me what is your position with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and what are your responsibilities there?
Sure, I'm the senior director. My title recently changed actually, so I'm the senior director of planning and facility management. So I'm kind of like the director of operations, just handle and manage and oversee all of the safety and security, all the track operations, all of the the facilities, the fire safety, the maintenance, the plumbing, pretty much everything.
Wow, sounds like you're the all-around guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big job, but I'm really fortunate to have great people who have been here well before I ever got here, and
Right. Right. How long have you been there?
I've only been here almost 2 years, actually.
Oh, well,
but
congratulations.
I've been
You're still pretty fresh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been a fan of the Speedway and the track since forever. My first race was in 1986, and the short story is my grandmother, who lived here at Speedway, fairly close to the racetrack, about a mile, and she used to park and just walk to the track. The race was rained out until Tuesday that year, and my parents have been going to the race since kind of the mid '60s.
Wow.
And by the time it was Tuesday, there was nobody else to watch me because I was 9 years old at the time.
Right.
So I ended up going to the race.
Nice. I really
Fell in
love.
with it, and
Go ahead.
I fell totally in love with it, and have literally not missed a race since. With one exception, I got married in 2008, and it was in May. It was May 10th, so it was just too close to the race. So that was the only.
Right. Well, a
only year
wedding
that I missed.
might trump the Indy 500. Just might. But that's kind of a toss-up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that everybody talks about the energy and the level of excitement that just is on the premises. You walk in and you get a zap of juice. The place is amazing, and you always hear that, but you don't really feel it until you get there. And it like I always say, it was like somebody plugged me into the wall. I really felt the energy, and I'm so drawn. That place is like a magnet. It's really hard to stay away from. Once I got there, I kind of want to hang out there. I could probably just put a little sleeping bag somewhere, a little hibachi, and just hang out. Yeah. What did you do before you worked with IMS, Dave?
I was in the live music entertainment business for a little bit over 25 years.
Really?
I started, quote, in the event industry when I was 15 years old. I was a volunteer parking attendant at a local amphitheater here in just north of Indianapolis, Indiana. So from there, I made it through high school and college, and the day after I graduated from college, actually the year before I graduated from college, I got offered a full-time job. At that time, I was just kind of part-time and temporary. So I worked full-time for a company called Live Nation, which is a huge company worldwide. And then in 2003, I got transferred up to Chicago, where I managed anywhere from 3 to 5 venues. It kind of ranged over time.
Wow.
And then in 2011, there was a incident at the Indiana State Fairgrounds that a stage rigging collapsed and
Oh my
unfortunately
gosh.
killed 7 people. So
remember
as a
that.
result of that,
I remember that now that you're mentioning it. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize
Yep,
it was
so-
in Indiana.
Yeah, so I was in Chicago and kept in close touch with a lot of friends and folks here in Indy. And that night that happened, it was it hurt for everybody, around the world. But then especially folks that did what we do for a living, that we put on these live events and concerts. And
right. And
through the good fortune of that, I was lucky enough to receive a job at the fairgrounds as the COO. So I was there for a little bit less than 2 years, but fortunately, by the grace of God, Doug Bowles, who's my boss here, is the president of the racetrack, sent me kind of a random text one day and just said, "Hey, do you want to grab a beer sometime?" And I said, "Well, sure, but who's this?" And he said, Doug Bowles. And so it took 7 months to get the job here, and then Doug offered me the job the night of Thanksgiving 2012, and my first day was January 2 of 2013.
Well, let me just say that Doug Bowles has a really good eye, because you are certainly the man for the job. You've got such a good, strong character, and you have a positive vibe about you. You can tell you're a really good dad, and just an overall good person. So congratulations on being a big part of the team at IMS, and they're also very lucky to have you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I noticed on your Facebook page, one of your favorite bands is Imagine Dragons. That's also one of my favorite bands, too. And I was just wondering, did you know they're local here in Las Vegas?
Yes, I knew that. I got out of that business. I was going to 125 shows a year.
Wow.
Concert-wise, but I was working all of them. But I spent some time and listened to bands and whatnot.
When you get to meet them too, right? If you're behind the scenes.
No, that was a nice.
That's
perk,
a nice perk.
I was never one to that was, I don't know. That's not why I did it, I guess.
I understand.
So I went to Farm Aid in Chicago last month, and they performed, and all of us, there was a large group of us that went, and we were just blown away by them.
Are they just awesome live?
I started to do some research on them and bought their albums and love them. They're great.
I'm kind of a tough critic when it comes to music. I love music; it's my life, but it's got to be good. And it's hard to find good new music these days. So when I heard this band come up, I'm like, hey, yeah, that's a band I can really get behind. I love the lyrics are good, the music is good. I bet they're an awesome show live, and I hope they're listening right now and they want to come on my show. Good News with Angela Savage on Vegas, on that radio. Imagine Dragons, give me a call.
They're probably still sleeping right now.
Yeah, they're sleeping. They worked last night. Okay, Dave, tell me, what is it like during the month of May at IMS?
It's amazing. It is magic. It's just. It's kind of like what you alluded to a minute ago. There's this energy around this place that is, it's year-round, but especially in May, it's just so special and so important, and so many people, here locally as well as around the region and, the nation and the world are passionate about this place. And
what is that? What is that magic that we feel when we walk through the door? It's a literal, it's like a zap of electricity. What do you suppose? It's just hollowed ground, right?
It's so much about the history and the tradition about the place, about how many things that we do that they did, 50 years ago, yet we still do it the same way as far as pre-race ceremonies. That's, Doug and I say all the time, that's our favorite 15 minutes of the year for us. That's our Christmas, is 15 minutes before the race.
Wow.
When we do
when everything's done and you can just sit down and watch the magic unfold.
Yeah, and there's people are just drawn to this place. Even right now, I have two kids. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. My daughter's 6 and my son's 2. And there's a Sunday afternoon that the three of us, take my kids and give my wife a little time to herself, and we'll come out to the racetrack, and we'll be out here for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I'll bring a wagon for him, and I'll pull him around the track, or we roll down the mounds, the public viewing mounds, just big big mounds of grass. And
well, next time there's a wagon
are
ride.
So drawn to it.
Yeah, next time there's a wagon ride, I'd like to get in on that, please, on the little radio flyer.
No problem.
That sounds like a lot of fun. What is it like during the rest of the year? Does it really get quiet down there, or is there still a lot going on?
It really doesn't. We do about anywhere from 350 to 400 special events a year. We have 2 going on today. So we have a large sales department that does a really good job of selling events at this place, and it's everything from bar mitzvahs to weddings to corporate functions to dinners to cocktail receptions to meetings to breakfasts to show choir performances, roller dirt. I mean, just anything and everything that you can think of that's at a normal convention center. Mm-hmm. We're fortunate enough to get. But then, we also have the access to the track. So, there's things that we can do to make an event that's well over the top from what you would do if you went to a place downtown Indianapolis, for example.
Dave, this is Aaron. I have a quick question. You mentioned that you have roller derby events there?
Yeah, what is that?
We're working on it. We had it at the fairgrounds, and when I was there, and there's 3,000 people that went to it.
Yeah,
so
roller derby.
We're totally open to explore anything and everything.
Yeah, roller derby's pretty big here in Vegas. We have women's flat track roller derby here, but I think a real challenge to those roller derby, if it's female or the guys, I think you have them do their event on the track and test their stamina.
All the way around the track.
Let them go around the track a few times.
Roller derby.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun to watch. Roller derby around the oval.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. That might be fun. Okay, tell me a little bit about this Project 100 that I keep hearing about. What's that all about, Dave?
Sure. It's a $100 million renovation to the racetrack.
Wow.
Not to the racetrack proper, but to the grandstands, to the restrooms, to the Wi-Fi, to just everything that a normal paying customer would come to expect. And part of it is challenging because we want to keep the charm and the integrity of the place, but we've got to evolve. And
yes.
we have it in our highest price, most coveted seating is benches or folding chairs, and it's been like that since the 50s.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. That's like 10 years after World War II, and we still have the same seating in
for new
place.
chairs.
So the project is really focusing on what kind of things can best
build it up,
improve the guest experience.
Right.
So we're adding theaters, we're improving restrooms. This place the ADA didn't even come close to existing when this place was built, much less designed,
Dave,
and then added onto. So finally, thank God, we're going to be able to accommodate guests with disabilities in a lot
I
more
definitely
of our
want
sections
to
and
talk
seating
to
than
you
we
more
did
about that
before.
after the break. I need to take a quick break. Can you hang on just for a second?
Sure can.
Thanks, Dave. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's get back on the path to happiness. Once again, here's Angela Savage.
Welcome back to Good News with Angela Savage on Vegas Allnet Radio. On the line now, I have Dave Shaw from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. How you doing, Dave?
Doing well.
All right. Before the break, you were talking about some improvements with this Project 100, and I heard you say something about better access for people with handicaps and stuff like that. I think that's really awesome. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. So in a lot of our main straightaway grandstands and seating were designed and built. This was in the 60s, so the ADA did not exist, and therefore we've been grandfathered in. And well, financially, sure, it's been nice to not have to make that improvements, but that's just not acceptable anymore. So one thing that we're most excited about with this project is the ADA accessibility to get up into the grandstands in turn one and along the front stretch. So we're adding elevators, we're adding ADA seats with companion seats and disabled restrooms as well. So for the first time ever in the history of this place, in 106 years and 99 Indy 500s, if you're in a wheelchair, you will have access to most everywhere else that were open to the public.
I think that's really great. You know, even on my show here, I try to make it clear that I'm a special needs friendly show. I'm a PTSD friendly show. You know, all those things, because I know that people struggle with all kinds of things on the inside that we on the outside may never even know of. So I think that's really awesome that you're go ahead and make it easier for people with special needs to see the race, because, you know, they want to be there too. They don't want to stay home. They want to come get easy access, and that's just really cool. I think that's awesome. You were a race fan before you came to IMS. So by the time you had a job there, you're like, okay, I've made it to heaven, right?
Oh, this is I mean, people that know me really well, that, you know, I'm 2 years in now almost, and they still are just so excited for me because I have one of those dream jobs.
Yes.
This is all that I want to do, and I say it all the time. I'm either going to be escorted out with a box, which I hope never happens, or I'm going to die here.
Right.
I mean, I never want to leave this place. It's just so important to me for so many different reasons and levels. So to be able to come to work here is just it's a dream come true.
Yeah, and I congratulate you too. I just know that you just seem like such a great guy from what I met you, and very personal and family oriented, and you know God, and I just think that they made such a great decision for picking you for this position at IMS.
Thank you.
Can you tell us some of the things that you have planned for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500?
It's this elephant in the room as far as we're concerned. I guarantee you on May 30th, which is the day after the 100th running next year, our entire company is just going to be so fed up with everything 100 related because of everything we're trying to do is 100th running.
I mean, it's a lot of pressure,
it's a great
right?
thing.
Yeah.
It is a lot of pressure because there's only one, and you know, not only it's funny, I have this conversation with vendors all the time about, you know, if you're going to do business here, I want your best, because this is not the NFL. This is not Major League Baseball. This is not something else.
Right.
Where if you screw it up, then you know what, we'll just improve that for next week. This is the Indy 500. It's one day. It's the world's largest single day sporting event,
and I like to
once
say,
a year.
Yeah, these guys are our modern day gladiators, and I don't think they're anything less than that. You know, they're out there in these rocket machines, you know, running next to each other, and we all know that people can die in this sport, you know, and it's nothing really to kid around about. This is this is make or break it, yeah, and there's nothing like the Indy 500, and there never will be. I don't think. Do you have any funny stories of things that you might have seen around IMS or anything like that?
Well, before I started working here, I have two brother-in-laws who are equally as large fans as I am of the place, as is my wife. So I think like 15 or 16 years ago, we decided it was a good idea to camp and make it a weekend, because that's what my parents used to do. They used to stay in a hotel right across the street from the track, and they would come on Thursday and then leave on Monday morning. So we thought that was the right thing to do also. And since then, it has evolved and snowballed, and we have. I mean, it's them now. It's not me. I'm not really involved in it anymore, unfortunately. Right. But there's catering menus that they make for different nights of dinner. So those were some of the best times that I ever had, is camping out, you know, just outside of Turn 4 in Lot 4 with literally 100 of my friends and family. And you know, one of the highlights of last year was I've been really fortunate to become good friends with Bobby Unser, who's a 3-time winner here and won Pikes Peak 12 times, and he's a world famous, you know, the Unser family and whatnot. So Bobby and I talk almost once a week, and just socially and casually, and
how nice
catch up. And I always told him, and I'd love to take him out to this tailgate out in Turn 4. And he said, "Well, let's go." So I took him out there one night, and he just thought it was the coolest thing. Our group has portalettes, you know, very close to their campsite, and Matt, my brother-in-law, had printed a large picture of Janet Guthrie for the women's portalette.
Love her.
And an old picture of Bobby Unser for the men's portalette. And all of my friends were just so excited to meet him and take pictures with him, and share a beverage with him. So
really
it was great.
Fun. Yeah, this year I drove into, this is part of what people do. The people that live in Speedway, they turn their whole yard into a parking lot, and they charge people to park there. So that I got to be a part of that experience, driving into the Speedway, and everybody's on the lawn, and everybody's got their shirts on, and it was the culture in the Speedway, Indiana, was a whole nother thing to observe, and then walking through the field of partiers, to get to the track. It was so cool. You realize there's a whole nother world going on besides the race, and that some of those people probably don't even know there's a race going on, because there's a lot of partying going on and stuff like that. So much fun. I could just really, going through the Speedway and going that way, I got a taste of the culture of it all. That was fun.
Yep.
What kind of things
absolutely.
do you like to do outside of work?
I'm not at work. I'm typically with my family. Like I said, I have two little kids, a boy and a girl, and then my wife works, pretty much 1 to 2 days a week. So when we're not at work, we're spending time together and trying to get our kids, as good as they can be. And they're both in school. My daughter's in first grade, and my son's in a pre-K, and trying to do stuff with him right now. So we have my mom lives here close. My mother-in-law lives close. They're very they're very close friends, and we spend holidays together with both of our extended families. So just more of the family thing.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. My son Chance is 9, and my son Cruz is 3. So our kids are just about the same age, and I'm learning a little bit about that now too, balancing the career and the family thing. Because number one, family's always number one. In my book. But now that I've, I'm doing a little bit of work and getting out of the house, I'm trying to learn how to balance that too, because family definitely comes first. Dave, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to call in and be my special guest today.
Well, it's an honor. I followed your path and your story on Facebook last year and knew you were around. And then I think it was the day after the race, I was in Doug's office, and he said, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I said, "Sure, of course." And he said, "Can you go meet Angela Savage and take her around the track?" And I said, "Well, hell yes, I can."
I remember
great.
when
I hadn't seen you yet, and then we met, and it's just been great ever since.
Go ahead.
I'm grateful to talk about the Speedway and any opportunity that I get socially, publicly, but also thanks for the kind words and having me on.
Oh,
Appreciate
sure.
it.
Well, I'm in love with IMS, and I would give a right arm, left arm, probably all limbs. So you're more than welcome to call in any week that you want. This is an open line for you too, to keep us all posted on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is my favorite place on earth.
Mine too. Thank you very much.
All right, Dave. God bless, and I'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye now. Pat Wright on the line?
Yes.
Well, hello. This is... Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad you called. Let me tell everyone who you are.
Okay.
Pat Wright is my mom's, Cheryl Savage's BFF forever. Her husband, Jim Wright, was Swede's chief mechanic. So ever since, the early 70s, my mom and Pat have been inseparable, and she's like a second mom to me, or an aunt or something. She's definitely one of the ladies in my life. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, well, I was going to call last week and didn't have the number in front of me, and I just wanted to tell you what a great job you're doing.
Oh, coming from you, that means so much.
I'm so proud of you. It's just wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you enjoying the show? It's fun, huh?
It is. I make it a point to shut everything down and listen to your program on Mondays. That's the one thing I have to do on Monday.
When are you coming out to see Mom? Because I'm bringing you in the studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping, I don't know. It'll probably be sometime in January,
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Sooner than later, because I know you guys can't be apart for too long, right? And then I'm also want to get my mom to Indianapolis at some point too.
I know, I do too.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that.
We're working on it from both ends.
That's
so,
right.
With
the
the
daughter and the best
one
friend.
way or the other.
She's absolutely
So-
surrounded. Well, there's a lot of people. All this love that people are putting on me is for my mother too, and always has been. And I would really be tickled if we could get her, close enough to where she can kind of absorb some of this love that's coming at her. I don't want to keep it for myself. It's hers too, and she's really the champion here. We all know she's been through things in life no one should ever have to go through, from losing her husband, and then her first daughter, my sister Shelly Savage, lost her battle with leukemia at age 28. So my mom's really been through a lot. Then she had to deal with me and all my mess because of the mess, and sometimes I just don't know how that woman is still standing. She's such a saint, and I want to get some of this love coming at me. I want to get it on her too. So we'll work on that. We'll bring her around.
Definitely, yeah. And I will try to get out there as soon as possible. And if we can anyway get your mom here, that would be great too. So,
Yep.
But I just wanted to let you know, I just think you're doing a fabulous job. And I really enjoyed last Monday with Ted and Paul. And,
Yeah.
it was just a really good interview.
Isn't it fun? And I have lots of really fun guests line up in the future too. All of our, that circle that you've been running in for years that I've now infiltrated. Thank you for gracefully letting me come in, or not so gracefully, I'm not sure. But we have this common circle of friends now, so they'll all be interviewing on the show, and we're just one big happy family full of good news, right?
Oh, great. Yes, I can't wait to hear whoever's on there. So that's going to be so fun.
It's going to be fun. Well, I'm going to open up the phone lines now for anyone that wants to call in. Go ahead and call us at 702-483-4444, and we'll get your stories on. Thank you so much, Pat. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Thanks for calling, and I'll talk to you real soon.
Okay.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.
We need to go to a quick break. We'll be right
Once
back.
again, here's Angela Savage.
Good Monday morning. This is Angela Savage with good news on Vegas All Net Radio. I have Kim Madrid on the line. How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing just great. Thank you for calling.
Oh, you're welcome.
The only thing is that my last interview went really long, so we're going to talk to you for a minute here, but then I'd also like to have you call back in next week so that I can really get into some of these great questions that I have waiting here for you. Would you be
perfect.
willing to do that?
Yes, that'll be fine.
Okay, cool. But let's talk about this weekend a little bit. I understand you polled and won, and then you polled and then you won. Is that correct?
Saturday I polled and then I won, and then I had poll for Sunday morning, and as we were sitting on the grid, the carburetor decided to start puking fuel out. So we literally tore the car apart, the carburetor top off the car, fixed the carburetor, put the car back together, and I actually started dead last, 19th out of 19 cars, and ended up finishing 5th overall.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, man, you had that race. You just smoked them all at the last minute. Well, I want to give kudos to you, especially just for being a rad chick that's in the boys club. I love to see women out there tearing it up and doing great. I just love that. How old were you when you started racing?
I started racing in 1997, so I was in my 30s when I started racing.
So you didn't even really start racing till your 30s. See, that gives a lot of hope for people that aren't teenagers that think, it's already too late. It's never too late, is it?
No, never.
Like even for me, I'm 42 now.
If you have that edge, it can happen anytime.
Yep, and then out there this weekend, I see, it's not all young bucks out there. These guys drive until they die. That's they're hardcore racer spirits, and they race till the end, right?
Exactly.
It's so cool. I got to meet your daughter, Dana. What a doll. She's your photographer and also did some wrenching for you. Is that true?
Yeah, she helps a little bit. She doesn't want to mess up her. She'll do stuff as long as she doesn't mess up her nails. But my son will do most of my wrenching.
That's hilarious, and I am gonna give her some scrap for that next time I see her. Really,
Yeah,
nails on the
exactly.
racetrack. I mean, you should see mine. I've got the nubs with the no polish, right?
Me too.
But my toes are always done. You know, we have to clarify. Also, now your son, Chris Quinteros, he's racing too now, isn't he?
Yes, he's starting to race with me, and actually this year him and I are going to be going, or not this year, should I say, 2016, are going to be going back to Mid-Ohio to run together as a mother-son team in the SCCA National Runoffs.
Now that's the first mother-son team that's happened, right?
Yes, it should be the first mother. I know definitely in Formula V, the cars that we drive, it will definitely be the first mother and son team.
Well, I think that's cool. Did he start out as your mechanic? How did he end up in a car?
He's wanted to for years, and he's, always had the niche to work on the cars, but now he's getting the competitive edge that I had, or have, should I say.
Right.
And he is starting to drive too.
Okay, well, here's the elephant in the room question, I think. Now, as mother and son driving together, what happens on that last lap when you're nose to nose? Are you going to stand on it, Mom, or are you going to pull back and let baby Chris win?
Well, I can actually tell you that the first time he beat me, because we have already ran a couple races together, and the first time he beat me, it was one of those moments as we're crossing the finish line that I was so proud of him, but I still was calling him an SOB.
So you're going to stand on it, right, to the end, right?
Exactly.
He doesn't get
exactly.
anything special because he's the son. No, in fact, you have to beat him because he's your son, or at least try.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I can still be proud, but I'm still a racer. I still don't want to lose even to him.
Right. Do you have a favorite track or road course that you prefer?
My actually favorite track, I was only able to run one weekend, but I loved Roebling Road out in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
That was my favorite track, yeah.
Awesome. How come? Any particular reason?
It just clicked with me.
Uh-huh.
It just clicked. We went out there for one weekend just expecting to be like in the top 10 and ended up winning the race.
Awesome.
So it was pretty exciting.
Yeah. So what kind of emotional rewards do you get from racing? Do you get any, do they pay you if you win, or are you just out there for fun? What
Some races you could win prizes and stuff like tires or, stuff like that. But most of it's just the bragging rights that you get. The satisfaction.
Right.
I can do it.
Plus, you're the girl that has made it in the boys' club. We need girls like you, girl power out there, because we can smoke these guys. The time for girls hiding in the back is over. We're up at the front now, and you all better watch out because we've been holding in our zest for now. So we're coming out strong.
Exactly.
All right, Kim. Well, I'm going to have to go to a break shortly, but I hope that you will definitely call back next week. Tell me about your sponsors.
I do have a few sponsors. My number one sponsor is Coyote Racing, and that's my engine builder. His name's Dittmar.
Uh-huh.
He pretty much, if it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't be where I am. He kind of took me under his wing and has pushed me as far as I have, am right now. And then I have K&N Air Filters that sponsors, and
awesome. Now that's something
actually, too. I have to pretty much say my shop where I work, Ronan Automotive, because he gives me the time off to be able to go out and enjoy this fun sport.
I gotta go to break. I'll be back in just a few moments. Okay, Kim. I gotta say goodbye, actually, but will you please call in next week because I have a lot more to talk to you about.
Will do.
Thank you so much, Kim. God bless and have a great day.